Wow, people, just wow. Naoya Inoue stops Ramon Cardenas, but what a damn scrap. Can we say Naoya Inoue has just saved the weekend's boxing? I don't want to be too strong and say he saved boxing because that would be a ridiculous statement, but my God, that was a turgid weekend of boxing. And then I've just seen one of the best fights I've watched in a while. I mean, obviously there was Eubank Ben last weekend, but this one was another level because these guys were going toe-to-toe in terms of skill, in terms of power, in terms of desire. But Inoue came out on top, but he had a couple of scares in there. This was not a straightforward, easy win for Inoue. And in this video, I'm going to be giving you my instant reaction to the fight. I've literally just finished watching it this second, and I'm absolutely gassed. It was just a great spectacle. I'm going to, in this video, try and break down for you what I saw in the ring. We're going to talk about Inoue, how great is Inoue, and what Inoue might look to do next. He did confirm who his next opponent is going to be and when it will be in his post-fight interview. But there's a lot to assess and unpack here, especially after and in the context of the other cards that we had this weekend. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a guy called Henry. I'm delighted to say that I'm here with good news. That was a damn good clash, a damn good fight between Naoya Inoue and Ramon Cardenas. It was a really good dust-up, a great scrap, but there was so much skill and technique on display as well. Toughness, everything that you want to see in a boxing match. Everything that was lacking and missing from the other fights this weekend. One of the biggest criticisms in the fight between Canelo and Skull was that, you're in there for the unified, undisputed super middleweight championship of the world. You as Skull have the IBF title, and you've gone in there and you've really just tried to survive and get your paycheck and get out. You've not gone in there with any real ambition to win. I'd slightly dispute that because I think, honestly, if he tries to fight any differently, he's going to get knocked out, in my opinion. And I think he's given himself the best chance he can. But equally, you've not put a show on. You're not getting yourself another fight in the future anytime soon because you've just gone in there and done a horrible performance. This fight for the undisputed, unified Super Bantamweight Championship is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. Two men standing toe-to-toe, putting everything on the line, making micro adjustments that might swing the round one way or another, putting yourself in danger's way, trying to counter so that you leave yourself open and then risk that they're going to counter you. I mean, really just a very ambitious performance from both men. Inoue right now is pound for pound right up there. And I want to talk about the pound for pound list before the end of this video. I also want to talk about just how good is this guy Inoue. But before we do that, let's break this fight down. Let's break this fight down and talk about what actually happened in there in the ring. The live stream was great. That was my third live stream in 3 days, guys. So if that doesn't deserve a like on this video, I don't know what does. Please also subscribe to the channel if you're new and get your comments in the comment section below. What do you think about this guy, Naoya Inoue? And guys, just a quick plug as well. So I actually have my own video production business, and what I'm looking to do is help companies, startups, but in particular, ramp up their organic social media content. I also do, website, hero headers, and all that kind of stuff. Anything really that's video related, I can do it. So what I'm going to do is put my link in the description for my website. My email address is also there. So if any of you run a business, or if you're in charge of a marketing department for a company, I'd love to hear from you and see if there's an opportunity for us to work together. Obviously, I'm still growing the channel. I'm still looking to get more sponsors on board. So I thought in the meantime, why not sponsor it myself with my own stuff? So anyway, the link's in the description. Also, guys, if you want to support this channel, I'd really appreciate if you consider becoming a member. My mission statement with the memberships is this. I want to have lots and lots of people paying very little. I want this channel to become a community-funded channel. I want to be able to avoid working with companies I don't want to work with. I want to be able to pick and choose my partnerships, and this will help to grow the channel much faster. We're about to get to 10,000 subscribers, so I'm really excited about that. And my dream and my aim is to get to 2,000 memberships. I'm charging £2 a month, so it's not very much, or it's $3 if you're in the US, roughly. And it just gets you a few perks with the channel. I always reply to those comments. It means you get a little badge next to your name that shows everybody you're a member. You join this growing community, and you get early access to some videos as well. So that's the main way you can support me. It helps me to stay neutral, objective, and impartial, and all that good stuff. So if you consider doing that, the link for that will also be in the description. Cheers. Now, this was Inoue's first fight back in America in a few years, and it sort of felt like a bit of a relaunch of Inoue. Obviously a massive star globally, a massive star worldwide, and he is 32 now Inoue, so you sort of look at him and go, well, how long does he have left to actually build a profile in the States? It's something that Top Rank obviously really clearly want for him. If he can be bigger in America, then he's going to make a lot more money and he's going to draw a lot more attention. And there was talk pre-fight of can he build this sort of Pacquiao-like following? Unfortunately, I think he might be a bit old for that now, and I don't think he's going to also go up the weights enough to do that, because he said he thinks his maximum weight he can go to is featherweight. So I'm not sure he's actually going to be able to do come even close to emulating what Pacquiao did. But regardless, and needless to say, he's still fantastic, and he doesn't need to be Manny Pacquiao. He's Naoya Inoue, and he's absolutely amazing. And as I say, in the context of what we saw this weekend, after the terrible fights we saw with Ryan Garcia and Rolly, with Devin Haney and Ramirez, with Canelo and Skull, all these fights that were really built up that we thought were going to be excellent, and they were just dreadful. And even the fights around them were really not good to watch. So to see this fight tonight, and with the chief support, the co-main between Espinoza and Vasquez, that was a damn good fight too. And Espinoza, won every round and stopped Vasquez, but Vasquez was tough as old boots. He stuck in there, and Espinoza put on a bit of a clinic. He was fantastic. And again, he's someone we will talk about before the end of this video because he looks really, really good. But that fight teed us up perfectly for the main event, and the main event was just brilliant. And what really interested me and fascinated me about this fight was Inoue came out with serious ambition, and I think it's one of the first times we've seen someone go in there. And of course, he respected Inoue's power. Did Cardenas? He definitely had respect for Inoue's power, but he also wasn't afraid of Inoue's power. He knew Inoue could punch, but he also thought, you know what? I'm still going to put myself in the pocket. I'm going to put myself in harm's way because if I can do that, I can potentially win big here. And he very nearly did win big in round 2. Round 1 was quite cagey. Inoue was sort of controlling it with his jab. There wasn't that many clean punches landed. Inoue landed a lot of jabs to the guard, trying to establish the range, trying to establish, control of the distance. But from round 1 straight away, you could see it was going to be close, and Cardenas didn't look afraid. He looked technically good. And they both landed, a couple body shots here and there, and body shots were prevalent throughout the fight. But we get into round 2, and Inoue starts to turn the screw a little bit, and there's a moment where Inoue has Cardenas backed up to the ropes. I already thought Cardenas was edging the round. He was starting to land some really good shots, and he was definitely having a lot of success countering Inoue. That was really where it was working for Cardenas, was letting Inoue throw and then firing vicious counter shots. And I think that Inoue said about the knockdown, he was surprised by it. And I think he was surprised by Cardenas' speed in the first place. The left hook from Cardenas in particular, he was firing out with rapid pace. And what we saw was, in this round, Inoue had him backed up. He threw his own shot. He left his hands low, and Cardenas dipped down. Inoue had his lead hand low. His right hand was low. And what he did was Cardenas, he kept his head low in the pocket, and he just dipped his left hand over the top and hit Inoue clean on the chin and knocked Inoue down. And it was a really, really good shot. Inoue took it clean on the chin. And Inoue's obviously got a good chin. Only the second time, I believe, in his career that he's actually been down Inoue. And he got up, and Cardenas tried to stick it on him, but Inoue survived the round. And we continued from there. And then again in round 3, I felt that Cardenas came out very, very strong, counter-punching really well. Inoue had the greater volume most of the rounds, but Cardenas landing the cleaner work in that round 3 in particular. Now, I'll pull up my scorecard so you can see how I had it at the time of the stoppage. So Inoue round 1, Cardenas had the knockdown in 2. Round 3 was Cardenas, then 4 Inoue. I had 5 Cardenas, 6 Inoue. And then 6 Inoue was really starting to hurt Cardenas, I felt. He was landing some good counter shots. The body work from Inoue throughout the fight was very, very good. Really razor-sharp body shots from Inoue. Cardenas coming back with his own counter body work as well, which I felt like, both men, by the time the stoppage came in 7, when Inoue managed to get him out of there, to be fair, they were both breathing hard. Inoue had his mouth open. Cardenas definitely had taken the more damage of the two, and Inoue was just a little sharper. And the big thing that made the difference in the fight for me was seeing the adjustment Inoue made. Cardenas was swinging that left hook, that counter left hook all fight. After he had the success with it, with the knockdown, I think he felt, this is the shot for me in the fight. But Inoue, the beautiful thing about Inoue is his adaptations he makes on the fly. He's such an intelligent boxer. You'd be forgiven for thinking this is just a guy who, he's sharp and fast and has power, but his boxing IQ is second to none. And the way he reestablished himself in the fight, got the range down, took Cardenas into deep waters, really deep waters, and essentially took away that left hook. What he did was he'd sort of lean back. He dipped down as well, but if he did dip down, he wasn't dipping down with his hands low. He'd make sure he got out of there safely, he exited safely. But Cardenas was game right until the end of the fight. Now, the stoppage was interesting because we didn't get a highlight reel stoppage for Inoue. In the build-up to the stoppage, Inoue was landing some very, very nice clean punches through the guard. He was splitting the guard. The straight right hand, the right uppercut was working beautifully for him. The shots to the body. And Cardenas had already been on the ropes in the previous round. And he very nearly got taken out. And his Cardenas' corner had actually said to Cardenas before the round where he was stopped, we're going to pull you out of there. We're going to give you one more round because you're draining, you're fading in this fight, and Inoue is too dangerous, essentially was what they said. But for the stoppage, a lot of people in the lives chat were complaining about it. They thought it was premature. I understand why they said that and why they felt that, because in the flurry that Inoue landed, there was one shot really that was clean, which was through the guard. So even then it was partially blocked. But the thing was in that moment was Cardenas wasn't throwing back. He was on the ropes. He was still slipping and sliding. He was still on his feet, but he was getting teed off on by Inoue. And whilst nothing clean landed, it was pretty clear the writing was on the wall. For me, Inoue was very clearly about to take him out of there, and he was going to hurt him more on the way to doing so. So in the end, Inoue just went through the gears and he did take him out, but a brilliant performance from Inoue. The guy loves to brawl, and he said in his post-fight interview, I think it's clear from people watching this fight that I love to brawl. And I love that about Inoue. This guy is not just some high-level box that doesn't want to mix it. He's got that extra edge, that extra toughness that you need in boxing. And you see a lot of guys who are tough who, they get outboxed, they get beaten up, but they're still in there. Inoue's got it, but he's also brilliant. There's nothing this guy doesn't have. He's got the chin. He's got the gas tank. He's got the boxing IQ. He's got the power. He puts himself in there in dangerous situations. He's entertaining. There's nothing not to love about this guy. He's absolutely exceptional. And I think in contrast to everything else we saw this weekend, it just felt like an incredible viewing experience watching him in there tonight. And before I move on, I have to say credit to Cardenas because like I said before, the guy went in there, he gave it a proper go. He properly challenged himself and he went out like a warrior, but that guy will get more fights because of that. And full props to him because he helped to make the spectacle that it was. And I'm sure Inoue will be grateful for the fight Cardenas made it too. He pushed Inoue all the way. He gave himself a genuine chance of winning those belts. And you can give Cardenas nothing but praise. And at the end of the day, all it was that Inoue was just a bit better than him. There's nothing else to say about it, really. And I think I'd happily see a rematch, not because I think Cardenas wins it, but because it was so damn entertaining. So when you do that, all I'm saying is when you're Cardenas, you set yourself up for future opportunities by going in there and putting on a good performance. So well done, Cardenas. Now, after the fight, Inoue was asked about his future, and I was sat there very curiously listening. I thought, is he going to call out somewhere in the weight division above, maybe a Nick Ball? He was asked about Espinoza specifically because he'd put on such a stunning performance. Espinoza, by the way, 6'1" at that weight is an absolute joke. A 6'1" featherweight is absolutely crazy. The dude's like a stick, but to be fair, he doesn't fight like a weak man. He seems to be very strong, and he wasn't bullied by Vasquez at all. But that is a fight I'd love to see at some point, but maybe not yet. Anyway, Espinoza was brilliant, and he was asked about Espinoza, and he said, no, it's going to be MJ. We're going to do MJ fight in September. So that was a definite. He said it, it's going to happen. So Akhmad Aliyev will be absolutely just delighted with that. I'm very excited, and it will be a very, very good fight. I'm looking forward to that one. But again, I make Inoue a pretty clear favorite, to be honest, because he is just that damn good. So we've all got that fight to look forward to. I have to say that before we move on to talking about this fight in context, and Inoue gave one final message to boxing at the end of the fight that I want to talk about, I do want to just mention the pound for pound list quickly. And for me, I think pound for pound is also about excitement. It's also about what makes you actually want to watch a fight, right? And this weekend we saw what was supposedly saw probably 3 of the top 10 pound for pound. Teofimo Lopez, I think, is he in people's top 10 pound for pound? I think he probably should be. We've got Teofimo Lopez. We've got Devin Haney, who's meant to be top 10 pound for pound. We've got Canelo, who's meant to be top 5 pound for pound. And I have to say that out of all the guys who were supposedly pound for pound this weekend, Teofimo Lopez looks special. And I mean, he is a special talent. And Barboza's a good fighter. But out of all of them, anyway, it's just head and shoulders above everybody else that we saw this weekend. Just fantastic. Just brilliant. And obviously a great dance partner in there for him to make him look good too. Really get to showcase his talents. And I did feel for Canelo in that sense, but also you have to make the fight happen. So without going back down that road, I'd rather forget those fights and never talk about them again, to be fair, if possible. Although I may do some sort of video talking about the whole weekend, because I feel like it was an interesting weekend of boxing to analyze. And I might do that, I might not. We'll see what comes up this week. But overall, you have to say that, there's 3 guys right now, right at the top of boxing. Alexander Usyk, Terence Crawford, and Naoya Inoue. And you can kind of mix and match those guys in terms of who's pound for pound number 1. For me, probably Usyk, just because of the fact that he's giving up so many pounds against all the guys he fights. There's no weight limit in heavyweight, so he's always giving up the weight and beating up the top guys more than once. It's special to see what Usyk's doing. But at the same time, I wouldn't have a problem with anyone saying they feel like Inoue is the best fighter in the world right now, even more so than Terence Crawford. I think that, again, I love Crawford, but he's just not active enough right now. But skills-wise, Crawford's a phenomenal fighter. But yeah, no issue with someone saying Inoue is pound for pound number 1. Brilliant to watch, and he's just saved the weekend. And he was asked about the weekend of boxing. They said to him, what's your message to boxing in the light of the other fights we saw this weekend? And he said, I saw the other 2 fights, and he just very humbly said and very simply said, I think this was the most exciting fight. And I think we can all agree that Naoya Inoue, you did have the performance of the weekend. And I'm so relieved because I was feeling drained after watching those other fights. Commentating for 9 hours of boxing, which was all dreadful, was destroying my soul a little bit. But it set me up for the rest of the week. I have to say that. And thank you, Naoya Inoue. That's my final message in this video. Guys, if you've enjoyed this one, please bang a like on the video. Subscribe to a guy called Henry. Get your comments in below. How much do you love this man, Naoya Inoue? I feel very passionate about him right now because just such bad boxing this weekend. And Inoue was just so damn good. Oh man, I feel like I'm going mad. Anyway, guys, I hope you've all enjoyed this video. And as I always say, on to the next one.